kingdoms. The early medieval period from 8th century to 12th century AD was the period of the emergence of new dynasties in different parts of the subcontinent of India. All these dynasties had a desire to build empires. Therefore, they continually fought with each other to gain control of more land and increase their wealth. In the course of time, a number of Rajput kingdoms emerged during this period. The word Rajput is derived from Sanskrit Rajputra, son of a king. They believed themselves to be the descendants of the sun god Suryavansh, the moon god Chandravansh, and ancient kings. Among all the Rajput kingdoms, the Chahamanas or the Chauhans were the most prominent. Rise of new kingdoms. The land grants grew in number in the 7th century and became widespread throughout the country. There was emergence of big landlords in different regions with various high-sounding titles such as Samanta, Mahasamanta, or Rana. As Samantas gained power and wealth, they asserted their independence from their overlords. One such historical instance is the emergence of the Rashtrakutas in the Deccan. In their primary stage, they were the subordinates of the Chalukyas of Karnataka. In the mid 8th century, Danti Durga, the founder of this kingdom, overthrew the Chalukyan king Kirtvarman and took over the reins of the kingdom. He performed a ritual called Hiranyagarbha. When this ritual was performed with the help of the Brahmins, it was thought to lead to the rebirth of the sacrificer as a Kshatriya, even if he was not one by birth. The territory of the Rashtrakutas reached its height under their able ruler Amogvarsha. Similarly, the Gurjar Pratihars were local officials who gradually carved out a kingdom in western India, Gujarat, and Rajasthan. The Pratihars came into prominence when their king Nagabhatta I, 730 to 756 AD, defended western India from the Arab invaders from Sindh to Rajasthan. He was known for his repeated resistance to Arab invasion. Mihir Bhoja was the greatest ruler of this dynasty. He rebuilt the empire and again conquered Kannauj, which remained the Pratihar's capital for nearly a century. His empire extended from Kathiawar to Bihar. He took the title of Adivaraha, which had been inscribed on his coins. He left a powerful kingdom comprising Malwa and parts of Rajputana and Gujarat to his successors. Another important kingdom of that period was the Palas. The Pala dynasty was founded by Gopala with his capital at Patliputra. He dominated eastern and northern India till the middle of the 9th century. The greatest king of the Pala dynasty was Gopala's son Dharampala. Some Tibetan accounts tell us that the Palas were patrons of Buddhism. Dharampala founded the famous Vikramshila University in Bihar. The Palas also had trade links with Southeast Asia. Devpala was the last powerful ruler of the Pala dynasty. During their reign, their kingdom extended till Prayag Jyotishpur, present day Assam, parts of Odisha, and parts of modern Nepal. But after his death, the Pala dynasty began to decline. Tripartite struggle. All the ruling dynasties of the early medieval period had their own areas of influence, but they often tried to control other areas for more wealth. Kannauj was an important region as it was strategically located on the banks of the river Ganga in Uttar Pradesh. The kingdoms of the Palas, the Pratihars, and the Rashtrakutas fought with each other for Kannauj. This struggle for Kannauj was termed as the tripartite struggle, as three kingdoms were involved and fought for more than 200 years, from 780 to 910 AD. Why was there such kind of warfare and fight among kingdoms? All the kingdoms of that time wanted to demonstrate their power and wealth beyond their own territories, and for increasing their treasury, they often chose to target temples, which were sometimes extremely rich when they attacked one another's kingdoms. Historically, one of the most prominent rulers who invaded the Indian subcontinent was a Turk Sultan, Mahmud Ghazni of Afghanistan. He ruled from 997 to 1030 AD. He invaded India 17 times between 1000 to 1026 AD. His targets were wealthy temples, including that of Somnath Temple in Gujarat. Al-Biruni, who was the court historian of Mahmud of Ghazni, was also with Mahmud during his invasions. Al-Biruni wrote an account of the subcontinent in a treatise named Kitab al-Hind. He consulted Sanskrit scholars to prepare this account. Another important kingdom which indulged in the warfare during this period for enhancing its influence was that of the Chahamanas, later known as the Chauhans, who ruled over the region around Delhi and Ajmer. The best known Chahamana ruler was Prithviraj Chauhan, 1168 to 1192 AD. His great military achievements have been described in Prithviraj Raso, which was written by his court poet Chand Bardai. He bravely resisted the attacks of Muhammad Ghori in the first battle of Tarain in 1191 AD. He defeated Ghori but was defeated in the second battle of Tarain in 1192 AD. Prithvi Raj was executed by Muhammad Ghori, and this ended the Chauhan dynasty, Cholas of the south. The Cholas were a powerful ruling dynasty of South India between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD. After going into decline for some centuries, the Cholas rose again in the second half of the 9th century AD as one of the most brilliant dynasties of Indian history. For the next 400 years, the Cholas held sway over South India. This period is referred to as the classical age of South Indian history. The successors of Vijayalaya conquered the neighboring regions and the kingdom grew in size and power. Raja Raja Chola, 985 to 1016 AD. He was the most powerful ruler of the Chola dynasty. He defeated the Chalukyas of Kalyani, the Pandyas, the Cheras, and the Vengis. He controlled the islands of the sea like the Lakshadweeps, Lakshadweep, and Maldives. He introduced two important features of the Chola administration, the navy and local self government. He was the founder of the powerful Chola navy. Rajaraja was a great builder. He constructed the beautiful Brihadeshwara temple dedicated to Shiva at Tanjore. Rajendra Chola, 1014 to 1044 AD. Rajendra succeeded his father Rajaraja and took the Chola Empire to greater heights. He continued his policies and even raided the Ganga Valley, Sri Lanka, and countries of Southeast Asia, developing a navy for these expeditions. He assumed the title of Gangaikonda and founded a new capital called Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Temples. The Cholas, being great patron of art and architecture, made significant contributions in these fields. The big temples of Tanjavur and Gangaikonda Cholapuram, built by Rajaraja and Rajendra, are architectural and sculptural marvels. Features of temple architecture. Temples are in Dravidian style, South Indian style. Chief feature is Vimana, or the lower Gopuram, or gateways, were richly ornamented. In the Brihadeshwara temple, the Vimana or tower is about 5 meter high upon a square, comprising three successive stories. It is crowned by a single block of granite, 7.5-meter high and about 80 tons in weight. The temple during this period emerged as a social, cultural, and political institution. The village assembly invariably held its meetings in the temple mandapa or the hall. The temples were also endowed with land by rulers as well as by other rich persons. The produce of the land went into maintaining all the specialists who worked at the temple and very often lived near it. Many cultural activities like music and dance also prospered in the temples. Bharatnatyam, a South Indian dance form, originated here. Amongst the crafts associated with temples, the making of bronze images was the most distinctive. The most renowned bronze images of the period are those of Nataraja or the dancing Shiva. Administration. The Chola administration was highly organized and efficient. The king Rajaraja built up the Chola power with his clever administrative skills. The king was the head of the administration and ruled with the help of a council of ministers. The Chola Empire was divided into mandalams, provinces or states, valanadus, district, and nadus, villages or smallest units. The large towns formed a separate unit called Tanur. The administration work was carried out with the help of village assemblies such as Ur, Sabha, and Nagaram. Ur was a common village assembly. Sabha was the assembly of learned men, and Nagaram consisted of merchants, traders, and artisans. Each village had a treasury of its own, and accounts were maintained meticulously. Irrigation. Irrigation was given special attention, and tanks, wells, dams, and artificial lakes were built to ensure ample water. Irrigation channels were built that carried water from the river and lakes to the field. Revenue. The major source of the revenue was land. The land was surveyed and categorized according to its production. The king took one third of the produce either in cash or in kind. In case of failure of crops due to drought or heavy rains, the land revenue was exempted. Other taxes included professional tax and those on trade, forests, mines, irrigation, and salt. Literature. Language and literature also progressed significantly under the Cholas. They encouraged the study of grammar, astronomy, philosophy, art, etc. Many literary and religious works were translated from Sanskrit into Tamil, Telugu, and Kannada languages. Kamban wrote the Ramayana in Tamil. Pampa, Ponna, and Ranna were the three levels of Kannada literature. The Chola rulers used both Tamil and Sanskrit in their official work.
Yes. Did you see? How was it? So many kings, right? From north. It was super.
I
Thank
think
you,
some
Nisha.
of them were not able to hear it totally, ma'am. Audibility, they enjoyed the video, but I think
Okay.
audibility was little problem. So give a gist of what they saw now, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Some
Thank
of them
you.
are saying the audio was not very clear.
Okay. Okay. My volume is full. I don't know. Okay, ma'am. I'll tell them. Okay, children. So we saw the new kings and the kingdoms. So in the medieval period, these kings, they had small kingdoms, as we saw. The Rajputs first. The Rajputs, they said that they are from the generation of king. So, sorry, the sun, and they call themselves as Suryavanshi. And those who from the moon descendant, they call themselves as Chandravanshi. And those who are from the kings, they call themselves Rajvanshi. So all these people, they together put themselves as Rajputs. So they were very brave people. and they ruled very nicely their kingdoms. Then we saw about talking about the Chauhans. Chauhans were also very, very brave rulers. And we saw about Prithviraj Chauhan, how he even dared to fight against Muhammad Ghori. Okay, so he was a very good, what do you call, invader, and he was very powerful. And he was able to meet him on the battlefield of Terrain. First one he won, second battle he was defeated. Okay, so this brought the end of Chauhan rule in North India. Mostly they were fighting for Kannauj. I'll show you the Kannauj in the map. You saw it. Once again, I'll show you Kannauj. Yeah. Yes. Kannauj is here in the plains. Okay, so which is irrigated by the Ganga river. Okay, it's very fertile as Ganga flows down from the Himalayas. It brings lot of alluvial soil with it. And the land is irrigated by river Ganga. So this land had been the cause for many battles. Because they wanted to have it, they'll get a lot of income. And how much did the kings collect? We're seeing what was the tax that the kings collected? Yes, it was 1/3 of their produce. Okay, so 1/3 of their produce the king used to take as his. If suppose they get 10 kgs, okay, it will be divided into three parts. Okay, so it will be like almost 3¼ kg that will go to the king, and 6½ kg will go to the producer. Okay, so the king used to do like that. Yes, Neshia, you'll get homework. Please concentrate what I'm telling. It was not loud enough. You could not hear it. Is it so? Yes, children? The video was not loud enough, the sound. So that's why I'm explaining it to you. Okay. Okay, Rahul, thank you. It was loud. Okay. So then the kings, the Chauhans ruled, it ended. Then we come down to the Cholas. They were really good. How many of you have visited the temple, Brihadeshwara temple in Tanjore? Anyone has done that? Brihadeshwara temple, the Shiva temple? No. Oh, you have Siddheshwar. Very good. Your name is Siddheshwar and you have seen Brihadeshwar. Okay, good. Very good. Oh, many, Bhavya, Kavya. Okay, Darshini has not seen. Okay, Sai has visited. Okay, Nashia has visited. Oh, you've seen a movie. Okay, good. So it's a very huge temple, okay? And you heard, no, it is one big granite, okay? How many of you have granite and all floors and kitchen slabs and all are made of granite? You must be seeing how it is. A big thing, okay, 80 tons and above that. And they have made stories on that. You must have seen Meenakshi temple and other temples in Tanjore, or even here you see temples. Okay, there's a temple near over here also. On the main road, we have some temples. You can see with a high tower-like thing, they will have it, okay? So in that, there will be images. Have you seen images are there in that, okay? Sometimes it is a sculptor, sometimes it is like a painted thing and all you will see. And those things tell stories. Gopurams, very good, thank you. It's called Gopuram, okay? So these Gopurams, they tell us stories about the Puranas and all that, okay? Now, how many of you have been to Mahabalipuram? Did you go to Mahabalipuram? Big stone, yes. Mahabalipuram, have you been to? Okay, so Mahabalipuram also got, it had 10 temples, okay, cut out of one big stone. Each temple was cut out of one big stone, and I think 8 of them immersed in the ocean, and only 2 is left out there. And they have Ramayana was being written on the stones there. Okay, it's not completed, or maybe it's gone inside the sea or something like that has happened, but it's very beautiful, the handiwork. Yes, okay. So these kings, they were the Cholas, they were very good architect, and they liked it. And their administration also was very good. Rajaraja Chola had a beautiful administration, and they say that his age was a golden period. Okay, we also wish, no? I always wish, wow, India should have a golden period. We are very rich, you know. India is very rich even today. Even after, you saw, no, that Ghazni man, he came from Afghanistan, 17 times he attacked India, and every time he took wealth. Okay, I'll try to show you a video in, if I get it, because I've read in books that he will load jewels and other things on the horseback. And when they go, some of them fall on the way. So the poor people used to go and such. Even now they say if you go to those passes through the Himalayas, you will find sometime gold and jewels and all there. Okay, so much he took from India. And still India has got a lot. Yes, in those days, temples were banks. There was no bank, okay? So temples were banks. So people used to think that no thief will come here because God dwells there. Okay, yeah, Britishers also took it. So many people have taken our wealth, but still we are still wealthy. There's a lot of wealth. Okay, so we can, if some good ruler comes, no, to India, so India can become again the golden sparrow. I wish it happens. Okay, so everybody getting equal opportunity, everybody is getting a good life that they want to lead. Okay, so this type of rule, these kings, they maintained. So in between comes the Palas. Palas were very good. They were very good for education. There were 3 big universities in those days. Can anyone name them? 3 universities. And people all over the world, they used to come to India to study, as now we go to America and London, Oxford University, Cambridge University, Nalanda, very good, Sai. Yes, one is Nalanda Vishwavidyalaya. Then another is? Anyone else can say the second name? Yes, Nalanda, okay. Next one more. Yes, please. Okay, I'll tell. Okay, one is Nalanda, another one is Takshashila. Okay, Vishwavidyalaya. Then comes Vikramashila. So out of these 3, the Vikramashila was started by the Palas. Okay, so they were patterns of Takshashila and Vikramashila. So these 3 were very big universities, and people from all over the world, they used to feel proud to come and study in these universities. As we say, and Cambridge return. My university where I studied in Uttar Pradesh, it was built on the model of Oxford. So our Vice Chancellor had been to Oxford and he liked it so much. So he wanted to build a university in the model of Oxford. So he came proud to build a university in the model of Oxford. So in those days, they used to feel, I studied in Nalanda, I studied in Vikramashila, I studied in Takshashila. Okay, so they used to teach a lot of languages, science, medicine, logic, astronomy, all these things in those days in the colleges. Okay, then the Rashtrakutas were also there, the Gujaras and Pratiharas were there. They were the ones, there were historians sitting in their court and writing all this. Like if you go for Gujaras and Pratiharas, we have Al-Masudi, a man who sits and writes. And with Muhammad Ghazni, there was a man who used to go with him on all his expeditions and write the history. So how we know about all this? Because they had written it in their books, okay, about these kings. Sometimes the kings, they themselves are very good writers, so they used to write their own stories, okay, autobiographies they used to write. So Rashtrakutas, they come, the Rashtrakuta dynasty, there was a great ruler called Dantya Durga, and he's the one who established it, and the kingdom went growing very fast. Now, we know about the Ghaznis and their, what do you call, the attacks that he did. Somnath temple in Gujarat, he attacked many times, okay, to take away the gold. So people used to keep wealth in the temple. That is what attracted the invaders. Okay, it was safe. The people who think that no thief will come to the temple, fearing that God is there, and it's a holy place, so no thief will enter it. So they used to keep it. Now also, you heard about the Trivandrum temple a few years back. They broke open the secret chamber there in Trivandrum temple, and they found inside that they had locked heaps of diamonds and precious stones and gold and all that. So nobody knows anything. And whatever we get like that, it belongs to the government. Do you know that, children? Suppose you are digging a well in your house, okay? Darshini, what is this again and again? Oh, you want Lakshmi Bai. Now, why you want Lakshmi Bai now? I exactly don't know whose daughter she is. I'll find out and I'll tell you, okay? Darshini? Okay. So, this treasure that you get if you're digging, okay? So, and you get some treasure, some metal, precious things like Cholas and all were making metal things. No, what was the famous metal statue of the Chola time that you saw in the video? And you also have it in your book, I hope. Not in this lesson. Yes, what was that? Nataraja, yes. You have Nataraj pencil, and in that also there is a picture of that, no? Yes, the Nataraja bronze statue is very, very famous. So if you find some statues like that and all, you cannot keep it for yourself. It belongs to the government. You have to give it back to the government. Sometimes you find treasuries also. Okay, so I heard that when they dig for the village, when they dig for sowing the seeds and all, also plow the field, at that time also sometimes they get treasures. So these treasures belong to the government. So in Trivandrum also now there is a struggle. The king's generation, they are there. So they are saying that it belongs to them, and government says it belongs to the government. So this type of thing comes. So wealth was more. People even buried under, you know the old stories when you hear, they bury under some tree or something like that. Okay. So India is very, very rich. So this attracted the invaders. They came to India to take away this wealth. Okay. They will not give you anything for giving the treasure because it's government property. Okay. So if you get treasure in your house, you have to hand it over to the government. And if you hand it over to the government, they may just give you some certificate or something sometime, or they will just put it in the paper that so and so people gave it. But I don't think they will give you anything for that. Okay. So it happens. So I just want to tell you just one small incident from my life. Oh, time is up. Okay, I'll tell you the next day. They will encourage you. Yes, Pavitraj, they will encourage you to give more treasures if you get it. Okay.